Hi guys, a second video of the day. The first one was a really short one, just an introduction to new viewers of the channel. Now listen, gosh, I wonder if you've by now seen the video, the song, Red Dress by Sarah Brand. Now I know not everyone has seen it. Mentioned it to one of my teenagers today and they hadn't heard of it. So today, it purports to be the next, Friday. It's Friday, but it is so bad it makes that song look like Mozart. Okay, now the whole question is, and no one's been able to solve it yet, is this a serious song? Is this a meme? What is this? I don't really care one way or the other. I was fascinated. I was fascinated by just how excellent it is at being bad. Okay, but then the other yesterday, I was curious about the lyrics, so I looked up the lyrics of the song, and a YouTuber by the name of Musicophile Queen, and I'll put the link here, put the put the lyrics on. Now I'm not 100% sure whether Musicophile Queen got all the lyrics quite right, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm also going to give Sarah Brand, the performer, and as far as I'm aware, the composer of the song, I'm going to also give her the benefit of the doubt that either Musicophile Queen got her lyrics wrong, or I'm getting them wrong, or I'm misinterpreting them. But added to my fascination with the badness of this song is my interest in the idea of the song, behind the song. Now, if you watch the video, the video is just as poor as the music, but it's fascinating once you've tried and sort of wrap your mind around what is the message of this song. And apparently, and again, I've watched the video several times now, and I've thought about the lyrics and studied the lyrics, and it looks like a really sort of interesting comment on a few different things. One, the superficiality of people, okay, of churchgoers in this case, judging a girl who comes to church in an attractive dress. Okay, now I've been around a lot of serious Christians in my life, and I've taught at a really conservative Catholic college, and they had school masses and stuff. And yeah, people think this way. People, whether you're Christian or not, you judge people by how they look. Men and women compete with each other, men compete with each other for attention. Yeah, that's human nature. There's nothing especially Christian about that. Now, it might be kind of a little pointed in the sense that it's hypocritical for a Christian to judge by appearances, go to church and then judge how people look. But let's not forget that there is such a thing as church decorum. You don't go into churches. You wouldn't think of going into a church in a bikini, just as you wouldn't think to show disrespect for a mosque by doing the same, or a Buddhist temple, or a Hindu temple, or a synagogue. Okay, well that's just plain common sense. And if I invited you to dinner at my house, I would probably expect you to dress appropriately, not to have your boobs hanging out or your butt cheek hanging out or something. That's just respect for me, okay? And I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't show up in my skids to your special event. If you invited me to your baptism, I'm not going to show up in an undersized t-shirt with a stain on it, okay? Or whatever. So anyway, okay, so that's part of the thing here. So the girl feels like she's being judged by how she's dressing. And in the video, she's in church and she's wearing a sexy little red dress, okay? And everybody's looking at her like she's, whatever. Okay. That's just one part of it. And that's not all that interesting to me. To me, as a theologian, what I find fascinating, and if well, obviously I've probably put up the lyrics on the screen already here. I want to draw your attention to this whole uh, fascinating, fascinating um, references to behind my wheel. Okay, so if you remember, obviously, there was a very popular song a few years ago by Carrie Underwood called "Jesus Take the Wheel." It's a dumb song. I don't like it. Never liked it. I don't like. That's not. Bleh. That's. But I understand. Okay, it's like, I trust you, God. Take control of my life because I can't. It's kind of like, the whole footsteps in the sand thing. When I was at my worst, God was carrying me type thing. So that's what it is. Look at that phrase. I didn't trust my own feels. Let someone else behind my wheel. And she says several times, the only one who should steer is me. Okay, so this is fascinating. There's a whole idea of grace, free will going on there. It's a theology of grace, of theodicy, and all that stuff. And that's the whole Feuerbachen idea of belief in God is a surrender of one's own power. And you know Nietzsche capitalized on that too, and there's this whole idea behind the death of God. We have to kill God if we're going to be fully alive, okay? Because as Feuerbach said, we give our excellence to God and therefore we alienate it from ourselves. So if God is all powerful and all good and all, then what we're saying is we're not capable of all these things. Okay, so I find it absolutely fascinating. And I'm almost looking at it like some kind of um, you know thinking about being a historian, looking back on this 500 years from now and looking at this song and at these lyrics, and it's just so fascinating, whether it's a spoof, whether it's a serious work of original thought and so on, whether this girl Sarah Brand, this is her heart and soul, this is her idea. She is espousing this Feuerbachian or Nietzschean idea that the only one who should be steering is me. And it makes me think, again, not knowing anything about this girl, where did she get these ideas from? And I find it fascinating. You know, and I find it interesting myself as a critic of religion, but a lover of religion, how people form their impressions and their ideas, like their impressions of other people's beliefs, why people believe what they do and what their beliefs are. To me, it's like, where did she get this idea from? I just find it utterly fascinating. And it's so funny that, yeah, she's right about some things, that this, and again, I don't care about the judgment stuff or whatever. That's what, teenage girls care about, stuff like that. Middle-aged men, ugly middle-aged men like me don't care about stuff like that. But to me, as a thinker, it's this whole idea it brought up in these lyrics here, fascinating to me. Again, let me go right back to the start. Here's the first stanza. I came to church to praise all love, sitting, coming for someone else. It didn't stew well with me, but I said it was a lover's deed. Okay, so there may be a couple misinterpretations by musicophile queen here, because I always thought she was saying, I came to church to praise our love, not all love, but be that as it may. And then she says, it didn't stew well with me. And I figured, oh, that's such a stupid phrase. Maybe it didn't sit well with me. It didn't stew well with me. Gosh, wow. But it was a lover's deed. So I was going to church because the guy I love likes church, and so I went to church because he wanted he wanted to go to church. Let me next direct you to the passage here. Hopping on the devil fest. I don't know what that is. What is a devil fest? I don't know. Hopping on the devil fest. Okay, I guess that means they see me in a red dress hopping on the devil fest, meaning that if she's wearing this sexy red dress, that means she's like a child of the devil or something, or that they are, because they're judging her, they're doing the devil's work. Whatever. Okay. Um, so let me just see here. It's the phrase and the role that um, feelings play in her ideas about goodness and badness. Feels are the opposite of judgment. Okay, judgment is bad, feelings are good. So she says in the later stanza, I saw a love precious and fine, thought I should do anything for time. I don't know what that means. Um, Time to change the hearts and minds of people not like me in breaker stride. Shouldn't be me trying to change. Thought I'd be something if I remained. So, okay. Oh, look at this phrase. It just ain't me singing of sins. So it's not my thing. That's not me being authentic to myself, singing of sins. Watching exclusions, getting its wins. So the idea of exclusions is hilarious because, what's the very opposite of accepting of this whole uh, non-judgmental LGBT stuff? Excluding. We're supposed to be inclusive. Inclusive is the golden virtue today. Being excluding is mortal sin. Okay, so again, I find this fascinating, that how in this case modern secular religion or philosophy or whatever you want to call it collides with Christianity, and the two are at war, and how this girl, whoever she is, sees Christianity committing the capital sin, the mortal sin of excluding. Okay, so if somebody has a problem with a girl wearing a sexy red dress to church, then that's their problem. Okay, and isn't it just amazing? And anyway, again, if this is a joke, if this Sarah Brand is if this is a joke, if this is a great meme, she's a genius. If it's serious, if this is her work of art, it's awful. But you can admire her for being, I suppose, brave enough to put her ideas out there. But anyway, it's all very fascinating to me, and sometimes the simplest things can be fascinating from an intellectual perspective. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that with you, my thoughts on that tonight, and hope everybody's doing well. And again, I got it put a smile on my face to read these words and so on. So anyway, thanks, guys. Have a great night.